Kara of them, Madhye, in the midst, Moksha Vancha, the desire to merge into the Supreme, Kaitava, of cheating processes, Pradhana, the chief, Yaha Haite, from which Krishna Bhakti, devotion to Lord Krishna, Haya, becomes Antardhana, disappearance. The foremost process of cheating is to desire to achieve liberation by merging into the Supreme. For this causes the permanent disappearance of loving service to Krishna. Purport: the desire to merge into the impersonal Brahman is the subtlest type of atheism. As soon as such atheism disguised in the dress of liberation is encouraged, one becomes completely unable to traverse the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Yakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat. The foremost process of cheating is to desire to achieve liberation by merging into the Supreme. For this causes the permanent disappearance of loving service to Krishna. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat krupatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So here it is being said that if you desire to merge into Krishna, the form of Krishna, or shall we say the Brahman, effulgence of the Lord, that is the most subtle, very subtle form of cheating. That is wanting to merge into the body of the Lord or Brahman of the Lord. Also it is said that that is a form of atheism, Nastika philosophy. So in other words, even if you recognize, acknowledge the presence of Krishna, that is good. Doesn't matter if Krishna, you treat him like your enemy or your rival or your competitor. But if you recognize that Krishna as the Supreme Lord, he exists. Yes, I will challenge him, I will compete with him, I will try to defeat him. Even that is better than atheism. Atheism, to deny that there is God. So here it is being mentioned in the Ādi-līlā that atheism and Mayavada philosophy are more or less one and the same. That, but atheism is disguised in the form of Mayavada philosophy. Sometimes you cannot make out. They appear to be great devotees. They're also chanting. They're also doing puja. They're also doing yajna, homa. They're also worshipping. But inside their heart, they think they can become God. They can become God, which means by doing all this, I can also become God. I can also become, not I can also become, I have become God. I am God. There's no difference between me and God. Just as I am performing my Leela, Krishna is also performing Leela. What is the difference? He is doing his Leela, I am doing my Leela. There's no difference. All of us are same. No difference. So it's actually a form of atheism, not accepting the existence of Krishna. So Prabhupada, in his pranam mantra, it is said, Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Desha Tarine. So Prabhupada said in his pranam mantra, it is said that Prabhupada came to destroy Shunyavadi and atheism, that is Mayavadi. Mayavadi or atheism, actually very little difference is there. Shunyavadi is another type of philosophy that is practiced by so-called followers of Buddha. The followers of Buddha say there is nothing. If nothing is reality, everything is a product of desire. That's a very strange philosophy. They say if you have a desire, then if you have some desire in your mind, then it is said that you will perceive the presence of the world. If you have no desire, there's nothing. Everything is shunya. It's called shunyavadi. Everything is zero, shunyavadi. If there is no desire. Uh, very, very, very non-Vedic kind of a philosophy. So they say this world also is created because you have desire. And the moment you have nirvana, nirvana means a state of desirelessness, absolutely no desire, then the world ceases to exist. The world no longer exists. So, of course, they also they use a lot of word jugglery and other things to explain their philosophy. It is completely against Vedic scripture, but at that time it was necessary to preach that philosophy because everybody, in the name of Vedic scriptures, were resorting to animal slaughter, which means killing animals and eating them. So Buddha, Krishna came as Buddha to preach ahimsa, total ahimsa. You should not harm anybody. You should not, you should not kill anybody. You should not harm anybody. We should live like very gentle sadhus or harmless, create no harm for anybody or pain, no harm, no suffering. We should not cause pain, suffering, harm to anybody in this world. That was their philosophy of Buddhism. Because the Buddhism was preached and propagated, people gave up meat eating. After they gave up meat eating, the first philosopher who came, who changed the whole philosophy again, was Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya says, Shunyavadi means nothingness. There is actual total atheism. Nothing exists. You are imagining that something is existing. सब कुछ आपका कल्पना है. आप हो तो दैट्स आल्सो योर कल्पना. आप सोच रहे हो कि आप हो. एक्चुअली आप नहीं हो, मैं नहीं हूँ, कुछ भी नहीं है. सब अपना इच्छा के अनुसार प्रकट हो रहे हैं. So everything is being manifest because of your desire. So if you have no desire, nobody exists. Even you don't exist. You dissolve into everything. You dissolve into not everything. Actually, you dissolve into nothing. Nothing, nobody exists. That is the philosophy of Buddha. So, Shankaracharya comes and says, actually, it is not that you dissolve into nothing. You merge into Brahman. Little bit he changed their philosophy. But he explained that philosophy in terms of the Vedic scriptures. It's called Brahmavadi or Mayavadi. Little difference is there, but he preaches that. But there's not much difference between Brahmavadi, Mayavadi, and Buddha's Shunyavadi. Not much difference is there. So people migrated from Shunyavadi to Brahmavadi or Mayavadi philosophy. Migrated very easily because not much difference was there. After that, after Shankaracharya, the first philosopher who came and said, no, Shankaracharya is wrong. There is God, there is creation, is Ramanujacharya. The first philosopher to come and defeat this philosophy is Ramanujacharya. So after Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya. After Madhvacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Significant contribution in changing the philosophy of mankind. Of course, around the time of, in the Western world, there was Jesus Christ, and much later, Prophet Muhammad, the Prophet, came. But that's a different story. I don't want to mix these two. In Vedic culture, the Shunyavadi philosophy became prominent. From Shunyavadi, Mayavada came. From Mayavada, Ramanujacharya came. Ramanujacharya preached a philosophy called Vishishta Advaita. Shankaracharya preached Advaita. Ramanujacharya preached Vishishta Advaita. Then Dvaita Dvaita. Madhvacharya is completely, you can say Madhvacharya's philosophy is also dualism, but it's very differently explained compared to Ramanujacharya. He deviates very significantly from the philosophy of Ramanujacharya. Ramanujacharya explains Vishishta Advaita, but Madhvacharya strictly speaks Dvaita philosophy. So, here in today's verse, it is being said that sometimes people out of frustration, they don't want to accept that I am not God, that I am defeated, there's some other person. God is there. I have to worship Him. I have to serve Him. They don't want to accept. Hence, they will say God doesn't exist. भगवान ही नहीं है. अगर भगवान ही नहीं है, भला हम किसका शरणागति ले? So there's no need for surrender. No need for surrender. No need for accepting scripture. There's no God. That is the philosophy they come up with. That philosophy they come up with because they are frustrated at trying to become like God. So it's a story of this sour grapes. I first try to become like God. I also want to enjoy. I also want to. I want to enjoy. I want to become like God. I want to become famous. I want to become all this. But it's not possible. It is not possible because the position of God is already occupied by Krishna. How you can become one more God? Not possible. Only one God can be there. So they try. They try to enjoy. They also try to enjoy like Krishna. Krishna is enjoying so well. So let me also try. Like that, they have different philosophies of wanting to enjoy. But they are frustrated. हम भला भगवान कैसे बन सकते हैं? हम तो दास हैं भगवान. It's not possible for us to become God. God's position is already occupied. So out of frustration, क्योंकि हम भगवान नहीं बन सकते हैं, हम क्या करते हैं? हम ऐसे बोलते हैं कि भगवान ही नहीं है. ನಾವು ಭಗವಂತ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? ಭಗವಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. So this is the philosophy of Shunyavadi and atheism. Mostly they become atheists because of frustration, inability to become God. भगवान जैसे बनना नहीं होता है. भगवान जैसे हम भी आनंद भोग ले, आनंद ले नहीं होता है. इसलिए वो लोग बोलते हैं कि भगवान ही नहीं है. There is no such thing as God. That is how they come up with this philosophy of atheism. Of course, there are other atheists, they will say, show me God. भगवान को दिखाओ, मैं मान लूंगा. आपको भगवान को दिखाओ. But it's not so easy. Prabhupada says, okay, let us say Krishna comes in front of you. Are you ready to recognize Krishna as God? No, you don't have that knowledge. जैसे in front of Duryodhana, Krishna showed his Vishwarupa. दुर्योधन के सामने भगवान अपना विश्वरूप भी दिखाए, छोटा झलक दिखाए. उसके बाद भी दुर्योधन मानने के लिए तैयार नहीं था कि ये भगवान है. He was not ready to accept that this Krishna who is showing Vishwarup He's actually Bhagavan. He said, no, kuch maya jal dikhaya usne. He has shown some magic, something like that. He doesn't accept. So Prabhupada says, okay, let us say God will come in front of you. Are you ready? Are you qualified? Do you have the knowledge to recognize who is God? जैसे Prabhupada says, you want to go and buy diamond. हीरा मोती खरीदना चाहते हो तो हीरा मोती कैसे दिखता है तो पता तो चलना है ना. We should know how does a diamond look. Otherwise you will be cheated. You go to a shop and ask diamond. You go to a you go to a what is it called? Go to a jewelry shop and you ask diamond, they will show you. Go to a grocery shop and say, I've come here to buy diamond. How is that possible? You can't do that. So same way, Prabhupada says, are you qualified? If God comes and stands in front of you, are you ready? Are you qualified? Do you know? Can you recognize? Can you understand? They can't recognize. They cannot understand. So Krishna says, Bhaktyama api janati. I can be visible and I can be understood only by a devotee. Non-devotee, they'll never understand me. Even if I come and stand in front of them, they can't understand me. Like the Asuras, Ravanasura is an example. He thinks, who's this God? Huh? He's running away. I'm trying to chase him and catch him and punish him. He's running away. भाग रहा है. मेरे सामने आके मुकाबला करने के लिए भी तैयार नहीं है. आप इन ऐसे आदमी को भगवान कैसे मान सकते हो? How can you accept him as God? See, I am here. I am in front of you. Nobody is there in front of me. Nobody, everybody runs away. Everybody is scared of me. So if there is God, I am God. अगर कोई भगवान के नाम से कोई है, वो मैं हूँ. Hiranyakashipu is saying, that is me. I am that God. Not the person who is running away and hiding. जो भाग रहा है, चुप छुपा के काम कर रहा है, वो भगवान थोड़ी हो सकता है क्या? मैं भगवान हूँ. So Hiranyakashipu is saying, I am God. Some people are saying there is no God. Not they cannot, because they don't want to, they cannot become God. So they will say there is no God. Like that story of the sour grapes. The people are trying to get the grapes, they're trying to get grape, but they're not reaching it. So they'll say ye angur khatta hai. There's no use getting that angur and eating. So Prabhupada says this is the way philosophy has emerged in Kali Yuga. They are by nature very rebellious. Living entities don't accept the concept of surrender, serving Krishna. हम दास बनने के लिए तैयार नहीं है. We don't want to accept that I am servant of God. Why I should be servant? I can also be master. No, मैं क्यों दास बनूं? मैं क्यों दास बनूं? मैं भी भगवान बन जाऊंगा. They cannot accept that they cannot become God. God, there's only one person. वो स्थान already occupied है. That one position is there in the name of God. That position is already occupied. They cannot accept it. So the best thing, they will say there's no God. So Mayavadi, Brahmavadi, they are also saying the same thing. There's no God. There's no such person as specially as God. Somebody has come as Krishna has shown his Leela. I've also come, I am showing my Leela. Uska Leela alag hai, mera Leela alag hai. But he is also same as me. कोई अंतर नहीं है. There is no difference between me and so-called Krishna or Rama. He is showing his Leela, I am also showing my Leela. क्या फर्क है? क्या अंतर है? So they say, if Krishna is God, I am also God. Both have come out of Brahman. After Krishna dies, he also merges with Brahman, I also merge with Brahman. So अंतर क्या है? So that is their philosophy. Buddha's philosophy is little different. He doesn't accept the concept of God. He says there's no creation at all. सब कुछ मिथ्या है. मिथ्या means imaginary. There is no creation, there is no cosmos, there is no world. It is your imagination. Why are you imagining? Because you have desire. If you have no desire, shunya. Everything is zero. The moment you stop desiring, this world doesn't exist for you. That is their very, very complex philosophy. It is very difficult to understand or explain that also. But there are some Buddhists. But you see, Prabhupada explains, Buddha says there is no God. There is no world, there is no cosmos, nothing. But for all the Buddhists, Buddha is saying there is no God. But all the Buddhists accept Buddha as God and worship him. Prabhupada says that Buddha played a nice trick on them. They thought they are thinking that there is no God. But Buddha taught this philosophy, so we worship Buddha. So in other words, they have accepted Buddha as God. They've given the position of God to Buddha. So Prabhupada says, so they end up worshipping Buddha. Like how they worship Lord Shiva. All these ghosts and goblins and pishachas, etc. They worship Lord Shiva. They are provided shelter by Lord Shiva. They worship him. So they also come under the Vedic, shelter of Vedic system because they are worshipping Shiva. So this Kali Yuga is a yuga where all atheistic philosophies flourish and prosper. All atheistic philosophies flourish nicely. And prosper. Every now and then some new philosopher will come and he will preach some atheistic philosophy. There's that famous person who keeps big murti of Shiva. But if you study his philosophy, it is Shunyavadi. He preaches there is nothing. You become nothing. If you can feel that you're nothing, that's perfection of life. So he preaches a particular type of philosophy called Shunyavadi, nothingness. But he keeps Shiva and he does Shivaratri and all those festivals. Very difficult to see. They are very clever. They keep a symbol of Shiva. They take shelter of that symbol and do prachar. As if they are great devotees of Lord Shiva. But if you scratch a little bit on their surface, you will understand that he neither believes in Shiva nor believes in anything. He doesn't believe in anything. Somehow he has concocted his own philosophy. He says he says that you are related to the world through desire. Something like Buddhism only. If you have no desire, you don't relate to the world. Then you merge in, then you are nothing. You are what you are because you have desire. If you have no desire, you are nothing. So he preaches a particular philosophy called nothingness. Shunyavadi. Something like Buddhism only. But they end up worshipping this sadhu, and Lord Shiva's murti is there. They say he was the biggest proponent of nothingness, Lord Shiva. Completely misrepresenting our philosophy and position of Lord Shiva. Completely misrepresenting. But he is also thriving, he is also flourishing. Kali Yuga, everything will flourish. Except the real thing. But this is a special Kali Yuga. Lord Chaitanya came and he converted everybody into Vaishnavas. He converted the people who follow Islam into Vaishnavas. He converted Shunyavadis into Islam. He preached to the Buddhists when he came to South India in one occasion and converted many of them into his followers by actually punishing them. Shiksha, dand diya. और बुद्धिस्ट धर्म को जो अपनाते हैं उनको भी भक्त बना दिया. He made devotees out of them. He preached to the Shunyavadis. He preached to the Mayavadis in Puri Jagannath and Varanasi. In Varanasi, he preached to Prakashananda Saraswati. In Puri Jagannath, he preached to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is reading pages and pages of Vedanta Sutra and saying, see, all these shlokas explain as if there is nothing, everything. We can merge in. Bhagwan nahi hai. Hum ek hai. Hum sab log, everything is same. We are no difference between me and God. We can become God. We can become Brahman. Like that he is explaining. Mahaprabhu hears him for 7 days continuously. Many days actually. And then finally Sarvabhaumacharya asked, did you understand anything better? You have not spoken anything, you have not asked any question. So many days I am speaking about Vedanta philosophy. I think it is difficult for you to understand. Mahaprabhu, he is asking Mahaprabhu, you are such a young sannyasi. You became sannyasi at a very young age. Some sentimental, because of sentimentalism, you are simply chanting Krishna Rama, and it's all sentiment. It's not real philosophy. Real philosophy means to think that you are nothing or you are merged into nothing. And Lord Chaitanya shocks him by saying, I know the Vedanta Sutra. I can understand perfectly well. I can understand everything nicely, but I cannot understand your explanations. Then Sarvabhaumacharya becomes surprised. He says, what are you saying? You are such a young sentimental sannyasi. You will not be able to understand on your own. That is why I am explaining to you. That is why you have to listen to me. Mahaprabhu says, no, I can understand this text as it is, but you are giving wrong meaning. Sarvabhaumacharya becomes even more angry. He says, how can you say I am giving the wrong meaning? He says, you are giving twisted meaning, wrong meaning, improper explanation you are doing. He becomes even more surprised. But of course, Lord Chaitanya presents it in a very nice, sweet, gentle way. Then he says, so explain to me where I have gone wrong. Then Mahaprabhu takes that very famous Atmarama verse. You have presented this philosophy, this verse, as if there is no God, that you can become God. All of us can become God. All of us can merge into Supreme. Satisfaction comes when we merge into Supreme. All those things you have said, Brahman, Brahman. But your philosophy is not correct. And Sarvabhaumacharya will challenge him. Say, if mine is correct, what is the correct way of understanding this shloka? That is that famous Atmarama verse. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says there is not one way. There are 64 ways of understanding this shloka. Then he explains that same verse in 64 different ways. And all of these 64 different ways, I don't know if all or most of them, indicate that there is presence of God. You're misquoting. You're not. Because Sanskrit is a deep, very rich language. Sometimes in Sanskrit, the same word has multiple meanings. You're taking the wrongful meaning. जानबूझ के आप गलत बता रहे हो, गलत फहमी कर रहे हो, आप गलत बता रहे हो, गलत प्रचार कर रहे हो. शास्त्र में जो भी श्लोक आप निकाल के आप उनका गलत तरीके से आप विवरण कर रहे हो, ये गलत है. But the right, simple, straightforward meaning is there is God, we are servant of God. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, and then by hearing the explanations of Lord Chaitanya and seeing his divine form, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his heart wanted Sarvabhaumacharya to become a devotee. So Sarvabhaumacharya ultimately accepts. आप जो कह रहे हैं सही है. We Mayavadis, we twist Bhagavatam. Whether it is Bhagavatam or Vedanta Sutra, primarily Vedanta Sutra they twist it, or Bhagavad Gita. We present it in a very biased way, wrongful way, so that we can preach Mayavada philosophy. But that is not the direct meaning of this shloka. He accepts, Sarvabhaumacharya accepts and says, yes, we twist it. And then Sarvabhaumacharya says, I thank you very much for opening my eyes. You actually saved me. I was so proud of my knowledge and my ability to twist the words. सर्वभट्टाचार्य बताते हैं कि मैं इतना अहंकारी बन गया था क्योंकि मैं एक श्लोक को लेके उसका दुरुपयोग करता हूँ और ऐसे मैं प्रस्तावना करता हूँ कि ये सुन के लोग समझेंगे कि भगवान नहीं है, हम सब भगवान के समान हैं. बट वो गलत है. I am doing a mistake. Actually, we are cheating public in the name of propagating Mayavada philosophy. This is not the direct meaning of Vedanta Sutra. He accepts and then he surrenders to Lord Chaitanya and he writes that famous verse. What is it called? Sachi Sutta Ashtaka. Sarvabhaumacharya writes Sachi Sutta Ashtaka. He writes and becomes a disciple of Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu will bless him and become a devotee. Verse. That is when Sarvabhaumacharya becomes a devotee. All his life he remained a strong, staunch devotee and he was always regretting his past. when he was propagating Mayavada, Shunyavada philosophy. But we should not try that. Mayavadis are very difficult to change because they are having envy. They are jealous of Krishna. They say, why he should enjoy? I should also be able to enjoy. Why only he should enjoy? I also want to enjoy. They are very deeply envious. They will never accept easily. Only when they have special blessings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Krishna himself or some Vaishnava, then they may change. We don't try to change them easily because they don't change easily. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says you don't try. Mayavada, Shunyavada, stay away from them. Don't try to argue philosophically because they don't accept easily. Stay away because that poison you should not hear. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that is like drinking poison for a devotee. To listen to Mayavada Bhashya. Mayavada Bhashya sunile hoi sarvanash. You will also get the seed of envy into your heart. So here in today's shloka, it is mentioned that all these Mayavada people, all these Shunyavada people, they change only when there is special mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Otherwise, they don't change at all. They are very attached to this process of cheating. They want to follow that philosophy because they don't like the concept of surrender. They don't want to surrender. See, Ramana's philosophy is better because he says, I know somebody is trying to become God. I am more powerful than God. Something like that is philosophy. But Ramana sort of accepted devatas, he went to them, worshipped them, took rules. What he is saying, Hiranyakashipu, is, I am more powerful than God. So you worship me. Because see, Krishna, he is running away from you, from running away from me. Wherever I go, I am chasing him, he is running away. But the Mayavada philosophy, there is no God. He is also Maya, I am also Maya. Krishna has come out of Brahman, I am also come out of Brahman. We are one and the same. There is no difference at all. Absolutely the same. So that is the danger there. So in Kali Yuga, there will be only Mayavadis, Shunyavadis, or Ajnanis, or people who don't know anything and who can be easily cheated. Can very easily be misled and cheated. Like for example, wherever you go in India, they will say, Bhagavad Gita mein kya likha hai? Do your duty. I am also doing my duty. That's what they understand about Bhagavad Gita. There are 700 shlokas and so many shlokas speak about bhakti, surrender to Krishna, following the rules, following dharma, worshipping Krishna. There is Atma, nothing. They don't understand any of these. They will only catch on to one thing. So, my duty is to do my duty and not to worry about the result. I'm like that. So they will say, so I'm I'm a devotee. But they won't accept the other part. That okay, if you cannot follow bhakti, whatever results you are getting, you offer to Krishna. That we don't accept that. Give the results to Krishna. Actually, Krishna says, at least do that. You can be considered some type of a devotee. The best is to serve me. Okay, you're not serving me, you're not able to serve me. Okay, do some karma, varnashrama, dharma, karma, and give the results to me. Right? All those things, they will not. Only one, same way, Mayavadis also do the same thing. They'll catch one or two shlokas where Krishna says, everything comes from me, everything merges in me. Everything comes in from existence, comes into existence because of me. After that, everything merges in me. They'll catch that shloka and say, see, everything. That means even Krishna's avatara also comes from my Brahman. merges also into Brahman. I'm also the same. What is the difference? But they will not read that portion of the Bhagavatam which says that we are like pores which come out of the skin of the pores of the body, universes come out, they go into the body of Mahavishnu. That they will not remember. Because that's inconvenient for them. Inconvenient truth. That we are created by Krishna, we merge into whatever, Mahavishnu. And then again there is another cycle of creation. And then again there is dissolution. And there are, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, there are two worlds. There's a material world, there's a non-diminishing, ever-existent Sanatan world called the Vaikuntha worlds. Krishna is saying very clearly, there is the ever-existing universe, the world that does not diminish, that does not need electricity or this or that exists on its own. That they don't want to accept. So there is something called selective reading. Whatever is convenient for them, that they will take and they will read. And they will make a philosophy out of it. Actually, in Sanskrit, there's a word called Ardha Kukuta Nyaya. Ardha Kukuta Nyaya means you take selectively some portions of Vedic scriptures and you make a philosophy out of that. Not the whole Vedic scriptures. Because whole Vedic scriptures, very inconvenient for me. How can I accept there is God? Then I have to surrender to Him. Then I have to follow His instructions. I don't want to do any of that. So, like that, there is a difference. Ardha Kukuta means we take only one portion of the scripture and make a philosophy out of it. The other portion we neglect. So that is called cheating. That is what Mahaprabhu is saying here. You are reading Bhagavad Gita. Then read all of it and follow. No, that we won't do. We'll only take that portion which says we are coming, everything merges into Brahman, comes out of Brahman. So that we will take. Brahma Bhuta, then we become very situated in Brahman. Like that, those selectively they will take. Even from Vedanta Sutra, they take selectively or they interpret selectively. So this business of following scriptures, we have to be careful because we have to see there are many scriptures. There's Vedanta Sutra, there's Bhagavatam, there's Puranas, there's Upanishad. What is the conclusion that we get from all these scriptures? That is what we have to follow. Not selectively. Selectively, if you follow, we'll be misleading ourselves. Like, for example, Duryodhana will say, in one place he becomes very angry at Krishna and he'll say, Krishna is a cheater. Krishna is just a magician. Krishna is untrustworthy. Krishna took sides. Krishna, he blasphemes and he accuses Krishna. Now you cannot take that portion of the Mahabharata and say, in the Mahabharata it is said Krishna is a cheater. That's what they do. So we have to see in what context, who is saying to whom, and then come to a conclusion. That they will not do. So it's very inconvenient for them. So when we chant Hare Krishna, slowly we give up this ahankar. But the biggest step in giving up ahankar is accepting your Guru and surrendering to him. Completely surrendering to him. That's the biggest step in giving up ahankara. Pride. Very difficult for human beings to accept. Even if they accept a Guru, in their mind they will suggest, in their mind, that idea of surrendering absolutely, completely is not easy to accept. But unless we learn to surrender to Guru, how will we surrender to Krishna? The idea of surrender can come, it will be practiced only when we accept a Guru. So that's why people don't accept Guru also. That's why in Mayavada philosophy it is said, Prabhupada explains, that they learn everything and they put their foot on Guru's head and then they'll say, I don't need Guru also now. I've learned everything. I am Krishna. So sometimes it is said that you put your foot on Guru's head and you go over the Guru. Mayavadis do that. But no, we are different. We are servant of Krishna. Guru is teaching us how to be servant and we shall always remain servant of Krishna. I will never become Krishna. I'm not practicing bhakti to become Krishna. I'm practicing bhakti to become a good servant of Krishna. And remain a servant of Krishna. That very difficult. So we practice bhakti. Mahaprabhu says, accept a guru, learn from him, serve him, obey him, take diksha from him, learn, educate yourself from him, accept him as your authority in life. So that is when the seed of rebellious nature, seed of independence from Krishna, seed of wanting to compete with Krishna is slowly removed from our consciousness. Otherwise, we are cheating. Clearly, Mahaprabhu is saying that's cheating philosophy. Because we are cheating, we are not accepting all the scriptures. We are not accepting the true meaning of the scriptures, though we know what it is. We are not accepting that there is God, and I cannot become God. I can only be a servant of God. We are not accepting that. All of this amounts to cheating. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Any questions or comments? No. Prabhupada came to destroy Shunyavada philosophy. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Desha Tarne. He defeated, replaced Shunyavadi and Mayavada philosophy with Bhaktivadi. Prabhupada came to replace, to educate people in the Western world who are more influenced by Shunyavada and Mayavada, more influenced in the Western world, and to replace it with Bhakti. That personality, Srila Prabhupada, it's pranam mantra of Prabhupada. I am worshipping, I am surrendering. That supreme personality who eradicated Shunyavada from this world. Nihilism, it's called. Nihilism. So that's personality who eradicated this philosophy, I am worshipping. It's called pranam mantra. Okay? Yes. Helappa. Ah. So it is said that Krishna is is a is a is a contradicting personality. Krishna is lighter than the lightest, heavier than the heaviest. ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹಗುರವಾಗಿರ್ತಾನೆ, ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಭಾರವಾಗಿ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಕೃಷ್ಣ is within your, we are within Krishna, yet we are outside Krishna. ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಉದರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ, ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಬಹಿರಂಗ, ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಆಚೆ ಕೂಡ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ, ದಾಮೋದರ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಆಚೆ ಕೂಡ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ಯಶೋಧ ಮಾತೆಗೆ ತನ್ನ ಬಾಯಿ ಬಿಚ್ಚಿ ಸಂಸಾರ ಇಡೀ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿಯನ್ನೇ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾನೆ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಆಚೆ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಇದು ಕೇವಲ ಭಗವಂತನ ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ ಶಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಮೂಲಕ ಇಂತಹ ಒಂದು ದಿವ್ಯ ಪ್ರದರ್ಶನವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಭಗವಂತನ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಹೃದಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನಾಗಿ ನೆಲೆಸಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ಆಚೆ ಕೂಡ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರ ಹೃದಯದಲ್ಲೂ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನಾಗಿ ನೆಲೆಸಿರ್ತಾನೆ. ಸರ್ವವ್ಯಾಪಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ ಭಗವಂತ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇದೆ. ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ನನ್ನ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಯಾವಾಗ್ಲೂ, ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಹೇಗೆ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭಗವಂತನ ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ ಶಕ್ತಿ. ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಊಹಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರ ಆದ್ರೂ ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಊಹಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ, ನಮ್ಮ ಊಹೆಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪ್ರಭಾವ ಇರುವಂತ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಅದು. ಹೇಗಪ್ಪ ಸಾಧ್ಯ? ಹಗುರವಾಗಿರ್ತಾನೆ, ಭಾರವಾಗೂ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ, ಒಳಗೂ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ, ಆಚೆ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ನಾವು ಅವನೊಳಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ನಾವು ಅವನ ಆಚೆನೂ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಂಡನೇ ಭಗವಂತನ ಉದರದಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಂಡ ಆಚೆನೂ ಇದೆ. ಇದು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಪದ ಚೈತನ್ಯ ಮಹಾಪ್ರಭು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ. ಕೇವಲ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಕೈಯಿಂದನೇ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಶಕ್ತಿ ಪ್ರದರ್ಶನ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಭಗವಂತ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಆರಾಧಿಸುತ್ತೇವೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ ಶಕ್ತಿ. ಹಿಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇಸ್, ಹೌ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್? ವಿ ಆರ್ ವಿದಿನ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣ, ವಿ ಆರ್ ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್. Krishna says, I am within you, you are out. I am within you, and you are within me. I am within you, you are within me. How is this possible? So I am explaining to him that all this is probably possible. Krishna is the lighter than the lightest, heavier than the heaviest, more faster than the fastest, but he will be staying here, staying in one place. All this is called Achintya Shakti of the Lord. Lord can do anything. That's why we worship him. ನಾವು ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಭಗವಂತನ ಆರಾಧಿಸ್ತೇವೆ, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಭಗವಂತನಿಗೆ ಶರಣಾಗತರು ಯಾಕೆ ಆಗ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಭಗವಂತ ನೆನೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಆಗಲಿ. Whatever the Lord desires or wishes, he can execute it, no matter how complex it may appear to be. No matter how complex it may appear to be, he can make it happen. That is why we worship Krishna. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಆರಾಧಿಸ್ತೇವೆ. ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಉಳ್ಳವನು. ಅರ್ಜುನನಿಗೆ ವಿಶ್ವರೂಪ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ವಿಶ್ವರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ದೇವತೆಗಳು ಅವನ ಶರೀರದ ಮೇಲೆ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಬಾಯಿ ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಂಡ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾಂಡ ಆಚೆನೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಅರ್ಜುನನಿಗೆ ಭವಿಷ್ಯತ್ತು ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾನೆ. ಈ ಯುದ್ಧದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಏನ್ ನಡೀತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು ಯುದ್ಧದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ಎಲ್ರೂ ಸಾಯಿಸ್ತೀನಿ, ಕೌರವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಮೃತ್ಯು ಒಂದಾಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ ಡೈ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೀ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಇನ್ನೂ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ನಿನಗೆ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ನೀನು ನೋಡ್ಕೊ ನೀನು. ಸೊ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಸೇಸ್, ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಶೋ ಹೌ ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ will be killed in this Mahabharata war. It's not happened yet, but it will happen in future. Now you can see what's going to happen in future. ಅದನ್ನೇ ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಒಬ್ಬನ ಆರಾಧಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. If you worship Krishna alone, that's enough. You don't have to worship any of the devatas. ದೇವತೆಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೃಷ್ಣನಿಗೂ ಅಜಗಜಾಂತರವಾದಂತಹ ಅಂತರ ಇದೆ. ಎಂಥ ದೇವತನಾದ್ರು, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಇಂದ್ರ ಯಾರೇ ಆಗ್ಲಿ, ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಹೋಲಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಕ್ಕೂ ನಾವೊಂದು ತೃಣ ಸಮಾನ. Even the power of Brahma is insignificant in front of that of Krishna, because Brahma doesn't have inconceivable energy. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮನ ಹತ್ರ ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ತನ್ನ ಬಾಯಲ್ಲೂ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾನೆ, ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಅವನ ಆಚೆನೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಚೆನೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ಕೃಷ್ಣನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ, ಕೃಷ್ಣ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ, ಆದ್ರೂ ಇಬ್ರು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ. ಇಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಚಿಂತ್ಯ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಆರಾಧಿಸ್ಬೇಕು, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಆರಾಧಿಸೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕೃಷ್ಣನ ಆರಾಧಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ನೋ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ವರ್ಷಿಪ್ ಎನಿಬಡಿ ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ವರ್ಷಿಪಿಂಗ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್. ಹರೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣ 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 ಹರೇ ಹರೇ, ಹರೇ ರಾಮ 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 ಶ್ರೀ ಶ್ರೀ ಗೌರ್ನಿತಾಯ್ ಪಂಚತತ್ವ ಭಗವಾನ್ ಕಿ, ಶ್ರೀಲ ಪ್ರಭುಪಾದ ಕಿ. Yes. Krishna says, I am within every atom. Definitely. Nothing can exist outside of Krishna's influence or control. Whether it is nanoparticle, electronic particle, or anything, nothing can exist outside Krishna's control.